Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought that it would be fun to go through my whole palette collection and pick out like the top 5 palettes that speak spring to me. You know, some palettes have like a fall feeling to them or a wintry sort of vibe. Well, I wanted to find the ones in my collection which have a spring vibe because right now it's like 65, 70 degrees outside. Spring is just around the corner. It is the beginning of March and I love springtime. So in case you're wondering, this eyeshadow look has been filmed, but not as a YouTube tutorial. This is a reel over on my Instagram page. I was actually trying something a little bit new. I really love to sing, and so I did like a mini reel tutorial where I was singing and applying my eyeshadow, but the reason I didn't turn it into a YouTube video was because I used 2 palettes, and I know that can be a little bit confusing if people are trying to follow along because they might not have both. But anyway, if you're interested in this eye look, it's on my Instagram Reels tab. And if you haven't been here before, welcome to my channel. My name is Rachel. I'm a homeschooling stay-at-home mom who loves to play with colorful eyeshadow. I don't know much about other kinds of makeup. For me, it's all about the eyes. So if you want to see videos like tutorials, rankings, declutters, palette collections, anything like that, I hope you'll consider liking and subscribing. I do try to upload about 3 videos a week, and you can find me on Instagram at Shimmers and Silver. Now, without further ado, let's talk about eyeshadow palettes. The first palette that I pulled out of my collection that gave me spring vibes is the What Dreams Are Made Of palette from ColourPop and Lizzie McGuire. This palette just screams spring to me. Honestly, it's probably partly the packaging, you know, with the flowers and like teen girl sort of vibes. I don't know, it just feels sort of adolescent and fun and sprightly, you know? But then the inside is mainly a pink and green color story, and I think it's really pretty. They're very light, fun, kind of energetic sorts of colors. This palette has a glitter up here, which I don't think I've used, maybe once. It's not the best glitter, and I just don't like putting glitter on my eyes. It makes me a little bit nervous, so I pretty much have avoided that shade, but I think I've used every other shade in the palette. And it's got some really pretty, well, just pretty tones in general. They all work together very nicely. In fact, you can see today I've got green and pink going on. Truthfully, I don't love this eyeshadow look. I like it, and I think it's interesting. I just don't love it. It doesn't get me really excited, but I still think it's fun. So I have pink and green going on right now. I didn't use this palette for today's look, but then I love how they threw in the purple, and I like that there are shimmers to match the mattes. So you've got pinky peachy mattes, pinky peachy shimmers. A green matte, a green shimmer, purpley mattes, purpley shimmers, and then you've got this one up here, which is a really nice highlight color. So let me swatch a couple of these shadows for you, just because it'll be a little mini swatch party of, you know, the most fun shades in the palette. So I think we can swatch this lime green because I am a sucker for lime green. Let's swatch this one over here just because it hasn't gotten much love lately. And we'll swatch this pretty one here. This is not a shimmer. This is ColourPop's sequin formula, so it's a matte with sparkle in it. But I'm just gonna swatch these for you so you can see. Here's that lime green. And I love lime green, it's so pretty. And then here is the next color. ColourPop shimmers usually apply best with the finger, I've discovered. And, you know, some shimmers apply really nicely if you just, how does that look? Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place there. Some shimmers apply really nicely if you use a brush and then spray them with setting spray. But I find in general that ColourPop shimmers apply best if I use my finger. So that is the What Dreams Are Made Of palette by ColourPop. I have one other palette from ColourPop for today's video, and it is the Sprinkle a Little Magic palette. This is their collaboration with the Tinkerbell franchise. This palette is really nice. It's really great quality. I love the packaging. It's interesting. It's detailed. It's got like these circles are actual glitter, and they kind of come off in your skin, but not terribly. And then these little, like this is embossed and raised metallic, and then these little butterflies are sort of like more of a glassy surface. They're really pretty. And that carries through then to the front as well. The butterflies are that glassy embossment. And is embossment a word? I don't think it is. Sorry, I feel kind of high energy today. I know I'm talking fast. I'm trying to get this video done before my baby wakes up, but I've already done another video this morning. And so I'm like, you know, a little bit hurried. But this is a beautiful palette. This is one of the palettes that I used for today's look. I used these 2 greens right here, and it's just really pretty. This palette is so springy to me. Again, the pink and green combination, but I like that this one also goes deep. You've got a deep green matte and a deep green shimmer, along with these more springy light greens over here, and then this shimmer is a light green, but it has a yellow undertone. Then this shimmer is also a light green, but it's much more minty. and they work with the pinks, and it all just works really nicely together. My only complaint with this palette is that these two pinks right here seem too close. Like, they look pretty much the same on the eyes. I wish that instead of one of those, they would have done a more mid-toned berry shadow. I think that would have been very pretty and, you know, made this palette like 10 out of 10. This shade right here, I think is gonna shatter on me. It's just, I guess it's a Super Shock shadow. I'm not sure because I don't actually have any of the individual Super Shock shadows, but I've heard that it's like the really soft formula and is beautiful, but I've had 3 palettes now where the super soft shadows have shattered and I've lost them. So that's kind of disappointing. It's kind of sad, but it's a very pretty shadow. So I'll swatch that one, and what else should I swatch? How about I swatch this green right here and maybe this one over here. On today's look, I used these 2 shadows, so I didn't use either of the shimmery greens in this palette. Oh, they're so nice though. This is really a good quality palette. So let me swatch this one for you here. Here's that lighter shimmer. And then the darker one as well. So pretty. They're just so nice. I like them a lot. This is a very pretty palette. And I look at it and I just think, I just get springtime vibes, you know? It's light. It makes me think of little flowers poking up through the snow. It's pretty. It's very springy to me. The next palette that I'm going to talk about in this video is the BH Cosmetics Lost in Los Angeles palette. This is a fully pastel palette, which I bought as a companion for some of my much darker palettes. For example, the Age of Opulence from Beauty Bay is very dark, deep, heavy colors, and often I want a lighter matte color to blend out some of those deep shades. I still want the depth and drama of the deep shades, but I don't want to be like blackness all over my eye. So that's the reason that I bought this palette specifically, a very nice matte pastel palette, and it's BH Cosmetics' really good formula, so it's a great pastel palette. You get some very, like, some serious vibrance considering that these are pastel colors. I'll swatch them for you on my arm in a minute here. And then the shimmers are also really beautiful. I don't usually use this palette by itself, but I do like to combine it with others. For me, it's a little bit too light toned to be used by itself because I like more drama and more dimension in my eye looks, but I do like to combine it with others. I find that I don't use the shimmers very much because usually I'm using the mattes to blend out other mattes. And so the shimmers, unless they're helping transition to a shimmer, I don't usually use them. Although this shimmer right here, the Hills, is a very pretty iridescent pink shimmer, which I like to use as an inner corner highlight. So let me show you these ones that I've swatched right here. This is a beautiful blue matte. Like, you get a decent amount of pigment considering that it's just, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. You get a decent amount of pigment considering that it's, you know, they're pastels and you might think lighter color, like lighter pigment, lighter payoff, but that's not really the case with this palette. I'm gonna hold my arm this way for you now so that you can see better. This beautiful minty, this reminds me of like a golf course, you know, it's like a grass green, I guess. And then this beautiful yellow gold shimmer, very pretty. So if you're in the market for a really good pastel palette, I would recommend this one. I don't know if you can find it now because BH Cosmetics has, you know, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy and is now being purchased by Makeup Revolution, and Lord knows what's going to go on with all of that stuff. But if you can find this palette and you really want a good pastel palette for working with, you know, maybe that's your vibe or you just like to play with it, this is a really good one. And to me, it's very springy because the tones are all so light and fresh, and yeah, it's just very springy. Oh, I want to swatch this one. Sunset Boulevard. Oh yeah, that's pretty. Here, let's put it over here. Oh, look at that. Look at that. So pretty. So good. Really nice springtime palette. The next palette that I want to mention in this video is the Love Notes palette from Beauty Bay. This is their most recent release. No, it's not. They just came out with a bunch of more monochromatics. This is their Valentine's Day release for 2022. It's one of the few things that I've bought when it was launched because generally I'm way behind the times. Usually I'm grabbing palettes like a year or two after the hype because that's when they're on sale. And I don't really care. That's all right by me. But I got this one when it was launched because I thought it was really pretty. I liked the color story. I like Beauty Bay's formula. It's not my favorite formula, but I like how it performs generally. And ever since I tried the Glam Light Icing Primer, I don't have as much creasing with Beauty Bay shadows. So that makes them, you know, more tempting for me to use. This palette also speaks spring to me. Again, with the pink and purple vibes, it's kind of floral. It's kind of like Victorian floral to me. I like that it also goes from light to dark. I like that we've got more deep, rich berry tones in here if we want to, or we can stay on the more neutral side and go into the brown area over here. And again, you've got shimmers that work with all the mattes. In fact, these shimmers could work with any of the mattes. You could use this shimmer with the brown mattes over here, or the pink mattes, or the purple mattes, and you could use this purpley shimmer with the pink mattes or the peach mattes. Everything just works together in a very flattering and comprehensive sort of way. My one complaint with this palette is that I see a bit of redundancy in this row and this row. I think that these 4 mid to light toned purple mattes didn't need to be. We could have done with 2 of them and then perhaps throw in a blue or a different depth of purple or pink, or maybe even a different depth of brown, or maybe a goldish, I don't know, something other than 4 and 2 over here, pretty mid to light toned matte colors within the same general color family. But I get it, it's a pink and purple palette. I don't know. That's just my thought. But Beauty Bay, of course, the shimmers swatch so beautifully. I'll grab 3 or 4 of these. So pretty. I've got 4 shimmers here. Beauty Bay shimmers are beautiful. I'll put them here for you. They're very creamy. Oh, look at that one. They're very pigmented. They're just lovely. They're a little bit more putty-ish, which is probably why they tend to crease. But if you can get past that, if you can find a primer that works really well with them, or if you don't have hooded eyes and you don't have to deal with creasing, then they're great. I really like the shimmer formula. There is one thing about the mattes of this palette is that they don't build super well, and that is kind of across the board for Beauty Bay mattes. The darker Beauty Bay mattes don't really build that well, and so it's usually a good idea to start with the darkest shadow and then blend out lighter and lighter, instead of starting with the lightest and pile on the darker and darker colors, because you're going to start getting patchiness with the Beauty Bay formula. But that being said, I think that the Love Notes palette is a very springy palette. It makes me think sort of potpourri and floral perfumes, and it's just fresh and light, and I like it. It's nice. The final palette that I want to mention for this video is the Udenzai Elva 2 Mini Forest palette. Udenzai always wins for packaging. I adore their packaging. It's creative, it's detailed, it's got these tiny little elements that you don't see unless you're really really looking. It's just beautiful. And then you get inside the palette. The color stories are interesting, the performance is beautiful. I will definitely swatch most of these colors for you. This palette speaks spring to me because this makes me think of playing in a meadow. I mean, I've got like clear blue sky here, maybe a little babbling brook, and then I've got, it's a sunshiny day, and I've got these like grass and flowers and maybe trees here and there. It just makes me think of being outdoors in an open area with flowers and trees and grass and birds singing overhead. That's just what it says to me. The fact that it's called Mini Forest, I don't think forest when I think this palette. When I think about the Wilderness palette from Beauty Bay with all those deep, dark, saturated greens and blues and burgundies and oranges and marigolds, that is a forest sort of palette from my imagination. But this one is more meadow. This is more, you know, children playing in tall grasses, dandelion wishies blowing everywhere. Those are kind of the vibes that I get from this palette. So that's why this one speaks spring to me. And I'm going to swatch some of these colors because they're just beautiful. Did I recently use this palette? I used this palette in another Instagram Reels, which was not a tutorial. It was one of those reveal ones, like before and after. Those are a lot of fun. I just swatched this color twice. Why would I do that? I have 2 grains. Why would I do that? I think I had swatched the yellow and then I went back into it and I went back into the green. I don't know, but it's pretty. So let's see, blue, green, yellow. Anyway, I'm considering doing a proper tutorial for that look using this palette because I just think it's very pretty. It's a very pretty palette. So where can I guess I'll swatch these on my hand. We've got this one right here. I haven't swatched anything on my hand before. I'm hoping that this shows up for you. Yeah, okay. I know that swatching on your hand is kind of the new thing. But truthfully, I don't like swatches on the hand. I feel that they look kind of gross. I'm only swatching on my hand now because I've run out of arm space. But this is a beautiful blue matte, sky blue matte, almost a Tiffany blue. It's very pretty. And then a couple of these shadows have some shift to them. And they're just, you know, it's Udenzai. And Udenzai is great quality, great formula, great everything. Udenzai is awesome. So anyway, that is the Udenzai Mini Forest palette from the Elva 2 collection. This one makes me think of a little sprite running through the woods or something. It's very springy to me. So there you go. Those are my top 5 springtime sorts of palettes. You have to let me know, do you usually do your makeup in accordance with the season? Like, do you do fall makeup with the fall season, or do you do whatever you want, whenever you want? I tend to try to match my makeup to my clothes. When I first started eyeshadow, it was all monochromatic. If I was wearing a blue shirt, I was wearing blue makeup. If I was wearing a purple shirt, it was purple makeup, because that's where I felt comfortable within playing with colors. But now I'm at the point where, like today, I'm wearing a blue and gray and silver sort of shirt, and my eye makeup is green and pink. And then I put some blue on the bottom just to tie it all in, but it's not a blue eyeshadow look. And so I think I've gotten to that point now where I'm comfortable not being monochromatic. But I know a lot of people like to rotate out their makeup palettes to have their spring palettes in their, you know, more accessible place during the springtime, and then rotate them out with summer palettes. And I'm curious what you do. You have to let me know in the comments what sorts of things you like to do as far as if you coordinate your makeup to the season that you're living in. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for hanging out with me. Remember that you can like and subscribe and hit that notification bell if you want to. You can also find me on Instagram at Shimmers and Silver. I do put additional looks over there, and I often have little mini tutorials in the Reels tab. So if you're interested in that, then check that out. And until we see each other again, have a wonderful day. Bye.